As the sun set behind the hills of Caesarea Philippi, Jesus turned to his friends with a question that felt as heavy as the surrounding stones. "Who do people say I am?" They offered many names, but then Jesus looked directly at them. "But who do you say I am?" Peter did not hesitate. His voice was steady as he declared, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus smiled, telling Peter that this truth was a gift from heaven, a rock upon which something great would be built. 6 days later, Jesus led Peter, James, and John up a high mountain where the world felt quiet and close to the sky. Suddenly, everything changed. Jesus' face began to shine like the sun, and his clothes became as white as light itself. Peter watched in breathless awe as the glory of heaven seemed to pour onto the mountaintop. A bright cloud overshadowed them, and a voice from the heavens spoke, telling them that Jesus was the beloved Son. After they descended the mountain, Peter was approached by men asking about the temple tax. Jesus, knowing Peter's thoughts, told him to go to the sea and cast a hook. "Take the first fish that comes up," Jesus said. When Peter pulled a shimmering fish from the water and opened its mouth, he found a silver coin, the exact amount needed for the tax. It was a small miracle that reminded Peter that the King of Heaven provides for every need, even the smallest ones. The disciples began to argue about who would be the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Jesus didn't point to a soldier or a king. Instead, he called a young boy named Elian to stand beside him. Jesus told his followers that unless they changed and became humble like little Elian, they would never truly understand his kingdom. He taught them that the greatest people are those who do not try to be important, but who care for others with a simple, honest heart. Jesus wanted the disciples to understand how much every single person matters to God. He told them a story about a shepherd who had 100 sheep. When one little lamb wandered away into the dark woods, the shepherd did not stay with the 99 who were safe. He went out into the cold and the shadows, searching until he found the one that was lost. Jesus explained that in the same way, it is never God's will for even one of his children to be lost or forgotten. One morning, parents brought their children to Jesus, hoping he would pray for them. The disciples tried to turn them away, thinking Jesus was too busy for little ones. But Jesus was displeased with this. "Let the little children come to me," he said firmly. He reached out to a young girl named Leora, drawing her close. He placed his hands on her head and blessed her, showing everyone that the kingdom of heaven belongs to those with a heart like Leora's. A wealthy young man named Joram ran up to Jesus, asking what he must do to have eternal life. Joram had followed many rules, but his heart was tied to his many possessions. When Jesus told him to sell what he owned and give to the poor, Joram's face fell. He walked away sad because he couldn't let go of his riches. Jesus sighed, explaining to his friends that it is hard for those who trust in wealth to enter the kingdom, for true treasure is found in following him. To explain God's fairness, Jesus told a story about a vineyard owner. A worker named Caleb started working early in the morning, while others were hired much later in the day. At sunset, the owner gave Caleb and the latecomers the exact same wage. When Caleb complained, the owner reminded him that he had been paid exactly what was promised. Jesus taught that God's grace is a gift he gives freely to everyone, no matter when they decide to follow the way. As they traveled toward Jerusalem, a woman named Salome, the mother of 2 disciples, came to Jesus with a bold request. She knelt and asked if her sons could sit in the highest places of honor next to Jesus. Jesus gently told her that greatness in his kingdom is not about sitting on thrones or being served. He explained that to be truly great, one must be a servant to others, just as he came not to